Cody, your art Sherpa. Welcome to the live painting of our Zenful face today. This is part of our big art quest about face, where we look at different types of portraits and talk about how we can do more portraiture and faces in our life. On the mic today is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He is going to be answering questions. I heard a noise. He's going to be answering questions and reading your comments and switching cameras as he can. I can. So, following along with you, we're working on an 11 by 14 canvas board. So that's one of these. This is pre-gessoed, ready to paint. You don't need to do another thing to it. There is not some reason why canvas board is necessarily better than stretch canvas. And you can paint this on either. You can even do this on acrylic paper. It's all just fine. It's just your storage, your budget, and your media solutions is all that you're worried about. I'm going to show you how to sketch this in, because this is the about face. But of course, there's a traceable, because I don't think drawing should be the gateway or barrier to begin a creative practice. I just think it's a skill you can learn along the way. So try not to worry about it too much. And if you get excited about it one day, boy, is there a lot of information out there for you. Paint colors are kind of interesting today too. So we have ultramarine, phthalo blue, cad yellow medium, titanium white, and quinacridone magenta. And I wanted to talk to everybody about the ultramarine.
Oh? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Well, because there's a lot of feedback that maybe ultramarine doesn't make nice colors. Mm-hmm. And that's actually not true. Ultramarine makes specific colors. And I know we all love phthalo. I love phthalo because it makes those bright kind of Kelly greens, those bright new spring grass greens. But ultramarine is a great color to have in your box because it's fantastic for skies and landscapes. And it actually mixes stunning with a bunch of colors. And we're going to show some examples of some beautiful colors that ultramarine makes in this particular thing. But if you don't have it, guess what?
What's that?
This will be a beautiful piece with phthalo or any blue you really have, so don't feel like you can't change it up. If it's just a color you don't have, never feel like restricted. How's everybody doing today?
Oh my gosh, so good.
Live.
So they're excited. So this is abstract piece, huh?
This is what I would, if I was loosely, because this is a bit of a commercial piece. Loosely, I would say that this, because this isn't cubist. I was asked if this is cubist, but we're not looking at the space being fractured. I'm not showing you the head in two different positions at once. I'm showing you the head in one position. And I'm using really round organic lines, and I am abstracting the figure, but I'm also romanticizing the figure. So I would say this probably is fitting more in the abstract romantic movement. There's a little expressionism in there, like where I get a little wow.
Yeah.
If you want to be an abstract expressionist, you might be a little more crazy with your strokes. But so that's sort of where I'm saying that we're in. And there's certainly a lot of artists that work in this movement. Howie, I'm going to start sketching this in. I also have to, I normally don't do wishes on Quest, but there is an artist that I heard about who had a really bad injury to their hand, and they're in the process of trying to save it. So we just want to wish well-being to all artists, and especially healing to AJ.
Oh, yeah.
I don't normally do wishes, but it was just such an urgent one.
And because it's such a good one, can you just squeeze world peace in there?
Always world peace.
Jennifer threw that out there, and I think that's a good one.
World peace, let's all play nice together. All right, I like that. I'm going to be throwing this in with a watercolor pencil that I'm now going to sharpen on the fly.
Can I picture you?
Oh, yeah, please picture me. Ooh, isn't she gorgeous? Isn't she beautiful?
Ooh, hello from Queensland, Australia.
Hi, Australia.
We have lots of folks from all over the world with us today. It's really nice.
I love how my cup like squeak. You know, the Sherpa's powered by coffee. Me and the Gilmore girls, we all live in Stars Hollow. Yeah. So I'm going to start by finding the space I want the head to occupy. And it's pretty focal on my canvas, so I'm going to make a soft oval up here. Some of it goes off the canvas. I want it to be fairly round. And so those are things that I'm going to be thinking about. And you'll notice that I'm sketching pretty loosely. Like I'm not like, oh no, my lines are in different places. This kind of sketching is where I'm trying to think about, hey, where's my piece going to be?
It's
And that's a type of thinking that you can do on your canvas. This is watercolor pencil, and I can just get rid of this with some water. It's going to vanish into the space.
I think I'm gonna adjust RoboCam down a little bit because it's set for the regular. It's set for when it has paint on the canvas. So I'm gonna adjust it down.
So there's going to be a couple adjustments during the lesson so you can really see, right? Now, one of the things that I liked about this was this hand that came up. And the hand comes up from this lower corner and makes this gorgeous, elegant little swoop. So I actually put in the swoop first when I'm trying to figure out how I want it. And the other thing that I really liked about this was this sort of Venus neck, which is this elongated neck, right? We're idealizing proportions, and even though we're abstracting because we're doing this long line, isn't that a beautiful line? And then I'm going to curve a line off here. So see how these lines are polar to each other? And then I had noticed that this space here, right, made the perfect space to put in a heart. So I had filled that in right here. You can make that any size. You can make these relational however you like. It's actually, in this case, more important that you get the gesture, the curves. This here, like this line goes up, down, and up. That's a bit of an arabesque, and that's something that you want to keep. So on the hand, you know, I want the basic shape of the hand, but I'm abstracting the hand. We're not being realistic. So I'm just remembering that this finger is shorter than this finger, and I'm layering these up. They're squared off a bit. And I'm just gesturing that in. I'm still doing a 3/4 face, so interestingly enough, I can still come over and make my anchor lines the way I would on a 3/4 face, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to put my ear way up high, and small, interestingly enough. That was a decision I'd actually made. And that allows me to anchor then my eyes. Once I've anchored my eyes, I can give myself, you know, kind of, again, an idealized nose. And then somewhere in here, mouth. And then I know I'm going to want my rounded chin. This is my favorite. So just so you know, I'm into this. I'm going to make a nice high eyebrow. Pull it down into a strong defined nose space. I'm still going to come over about an eye's width. So I'm abstracting, but I'm not abstracting everything. And it's what I'm choosing to be very specific about that helps create the solid parts of this piece while still being very romantic in other parts. So like I'll make my almond closed eyes shape right here. Make another almond. This eye has to be foreshortened, so this eye should still be a little smaller than this eye, right? And then I'm like, oh, we're going to blow some little hair over here. And maybe I might talk about some back that way. And that's all I've got to do to lay this in. That's that simple. And then I get to have the fun of having a sippy. Oh, John can come readjust it where he likes it for the painting. I'll even put the painting up so you can do that. Oh, yeah. And then we'll go about the business of painting her in. Look, any colors that you want. Any symbols that you want to put in here. In works like this, you can decoupage, which is like using like soft gel or even Mod Podge to add pieces of paper, memorabilia. You can put in symbols. You can, you know, change these figures up to represent people in your life. So once you learn the skill set, feel like you can run with this.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful way to talk about people. And I kind of like romanticism because I'm a bit of a goof and a romantic.
Now, I was noticing that in the last painting that you did, there you used a lot of the pen, and you said, you know, the kind of lining tool. Now, is that what you mean when you make it commercial?
No.
When it's illustrative, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that?
Oh, that's an interesting space because we've been talking about what's fine art, what's commercial art, what's so commercial. The artwork is created with the pure intent of living with people in their homes, in their everyday existence. So a commercial piece generally won't depict something that is upsetting or alarming, because it's hard to sell that. Target doesn't move those very well.
Right.
Target moves pretty birds just a
Right.
little bit better. So when you're working with a commercial mindset, what you're really saying is that I'm really thinking about my buyer and that moment when they connect with the piece, and I'm trying to create work with that relationship in mind. Right? Whereas if I'm creating stuff that's more on the fine art sense, I'm creating pieces that are more about the intention of why I created them. They're more intellectual, and they're more about the subject matter I'm talking about than at all considering, in some sense, how the viewer reacts to them.
Oh, interesting.
Right? I'm creating them for the purpose of making them themselves. It's nice if the buyer likes them, because that helps me keep working, but they may not. My work may be very upsetting.
Right.
Or it may be too large to have in your backyard. It's like, it's 5 tons. What do you do with that? It's great. It's cool. It's a giant horse head. Would like it, but you got a small backyard.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just a way of dialoguing about art. Is all it is.
I'm going to give you your picture back now. Whoosh.
Okay.
Okay. Here you
I
go.
don't know if that's interesting.
That's
or
great.
nothing. So I have this nice little Bristlon number 8 bright. I really like brights for acrylic paint. I'm going to dip it in my water and drag off the extra. This is the brush when you're trying to think about how much moisture. It's not soaking, but there's water in it. And if it were dry, it wouldn't leave any moisture. And if it was too wet, it would be dripping off my finger. And that's kind of a way of thinking about that. I'm going to come here and take a little of my dark color over to my yellow. This is my quinacridone magenta. You could use just primary magenta. That would be fine. And I'm going to make a nice rich orange that I like. And I'm going to come here on the inside of this eye and just nicely and happily paint in this space with my darker orange. This is the shadow in the face. So when I'm painting this, even though it's abstract and where's my light source, that makes no sense, I can still talk about things like light and shadow and those kinds of things quite happily, even though it's abstract. Doesn't mean I stop having those conversations. I just might talk about them differently. I was just asked in a vote to do Richeson, which is about painting all the reflected rays of light.
Ooh.
So that's all about light and not about the subject. It all is fine. I'm going to get a little of my white and a little of my yellow into this mix, and you can see that it gets a little creamier and brighter like a sherbet. And I will just come to this outside edge. There we go. See how that starts to work there? Maybe go under my eye a little bit. Around it. I can put it back in a second. There isn't a right or wrong here. I'm just talking you through what I'm doing, just in case this is the first time you've ever tried to do something like this and you're following along. But hey, if you're just having a whole gleeful moment and you're cackling and you're laughing in your kitchen playing, well, go to it. I think my studio is super dry today. I'm going to put out some acrylic glazing liquid gloss.
Cool.
This slows down the drying time of my paint and allows me to do glaze, which is transparent layers. Glazing liquid by other companies is not this. It does a different thing. So always read the back of the bottle for the description of what the product is supposed to do. Because these guys all name their stuff crazy.
Now,
Just don't assume that the front label will be as descriptive as you might like as a new buyer. And just read the black label where all the info is. So I'm just doing this here. I'm thinking I want to come in and maybe darken some of this up. So I'm grabbing some of my magenta. And I'm just working in here. Maybe under the eye a little bit. Just blending it in. So my paint's still wet here, and that's going to let me keep blending.
Now, Natasha was commenting that she says that she's having, she's so envious of how easy your paint goes on, because she seems to have the trouble that by the time she gets it to go on as smoothly as yours does, that it gets a little transparent.
Okay.
Is there a reason for that?
There's usually one of three reasons. Your paint. Well, it might be more than three. Let's count them out. So it's your paint. Sometimes your paint does not, we call it drag, right? So the paints that I purchase have a drag that I like, right? How my brush pulls through the paint and leaves it on the canvas. Does it feel like it's grabbing my paint? Is it slick? How is it? Then it's how much moisture or medium, whatever is aiding the flow of your paint, is in the mixture. And also the authority of your brush. If your brush is very soft or too soft for the type of paint you're painting with, you'll have to over thin it, which turns it into a glaze.
Okay.
Right? So you're kind of balancing those things. And your canvas surface, which literally can get up and just start making. You could be like, I painted 50 of these and it went this way and I got this new kind of canvas, and all of a sudden I've lost the ability to put marks on canvases. What the heck? Canvas surface can also impact you too. So you're, as an artist, you're always kind of balancing those things out. And I feel like we need to do a drilled down video on that subject.
Now,
really do.
Your paint grade can also affect that, can't it? Whether
Yes,
you're using
the paint grade. So but even between, these are both pro companies. These have two different drags.
Oh, sure.
And so both of these tend to stay moist. They tend to pull out very nicely. They both have nice pigment loads. I tend to do more dry brushing and certain techniques where I want it to grip the canvas. So I'm liking the golden. But, good artists will be like, oh, I really like Liquitex Basics because it's like a glaze and it pulls out nicely. And then other artists are like, I hate that it doesn't cover. It really is about, in your studio, are you having a good time? If you're not, it's probably the product you're using.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to way upgrade. Just means you have to find the one that does it in a way that's comfortable for you. I'm getting some more pink. I'm getting some more of this magenta on my brush. Magenta, I like you. And I'm going to I'm adding glazing medium to improve the flow of my paint. And I'm going to come in this little chin with my little pink. I'm going to probably come back with another color in a minute. And I'm going to brush up this jawline. Like you do. Maybe up into the ear. Oh, and sometimes paints are more transparent. Like quinacridone is super transparent, whereas titanium white is super opaque. Back of that tube is amazing. Tells you so many things you need to know. Read the bottles. And if the bottles don't tell you anything, I'll get a different bottle. My 2 cents. I'm going to get some of my yellow into this. Still pretty pink, though. You can see it's pinker than that. So just maybe a little white. Here we go. And glaze for flow because it's so dry. Just coming in here, working this out. Right? And around this nose, I'm going to actually go more yellow in the nose. So yellow is more transparent. So by painting in this color first, I'm actually setting myself up for success.
Now,
weird thing you might not know. I'm pulling more magenta on, and I'm coming around this eye. I used all these warm blushy tones here to convey the internal dialogue of the figure. Because these colors emote the sense of love and blushing and all of that. And that's why I made that choice. So I'm loving seeing everybody's posts on the Big Art Quest on Facebook and on the website. Pretty exciting stuff. You guys are totally a hoot and a half. So many neat posts. I love the I painted this too game that's going on. That's pretty cool. And the gift game. And the very vigorous vote in the TheArtSherpa official.
Yes.
It's a vigorous vote. Vigorously. Voting is happening. So these things are all fun to me. You see, I'm just covering up the canvas. But I could be painting on a canvas right now that was fighting back really hard. Could be happening. I don't know. So I'm going to just, got my glazing medium blend around here. There we go. See, I'm getting that nice blend.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get in my yellow. More of my yellow. Maybe little glaze, glaze, glaze. I don't know why I'm singing like that. Right into my ear, ear, ear. Okay. So I'm going to, this is an interesting color to me. I feel like blending this down a little bit.
Now, are you following any... Irene was asking, I think this is who was asking this.
I'm going to rinse out my brush. It's important here.
Are you following any abstract schools of thought?
Outside of abstract romanticism, not particularly. I'm following probably more constraints of design and form. So I'm thinking more about the negative space, the positive space, the value and heat of the colors, if objects are pulled forward or pushed back, and how they might impact you emotionally more than any particular school of abstraction. When people get into a school of abstraction, it gets real serious real fast. They're into it. I'm going to get some just yellow here. You don't even know. You don't know. They're into it. I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to just work this here. So, outside of you could sit there and say this belongs to, what we talked about at the beginning. I don't know.
Oh, and we have a lot of new little brushes with us today, I've seen.
Really?
We have, Olivia and Penelope are new with us today, and I think I saw that there was a Maya, and there were a couple of other names that I had seen for the first time here. So hi, everybody.
Hey, guys. So if you'll notice, I just pulled that very light yellow and white across the nose here. Just to start working that. I kind of want that to be a little blended, so I'm going to take a little minute to get a little of my yellow and red and get back into my orange while this is still wet. And come here, if you'll notice, and just brush blend that out.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Just need it, so I'm going to do it now. If you're having trouble, like the paint has gotten dry, just grab your glaze and you'll notice that that fixes the problem. It doesn't reactivate the paint, it just allows you to glaze over it, which is another way of blending. So I just wanted to make sure that I had that. Okay, sorry. just going. Just thinking I'm going to get back into my yellow and red here and a little glaze, glaze, glaze. Always fun. Come around here. Maybe come through here. A little more pink this time. I love that we have little brushes watching. I think it's pretty exciting when kids paint, because they bring some really cool ideas to their art. And they still smart enough to know to trust themselves creatively. Unlike us poor adults, I'm going to get some magenta who question our decisions endlessly in our art. All right, here we go, here we go. Just bringing this hot pink line across this here. This actually kind of represents a shadow. For me. I'm just saying. Right?
Yes, I can see it.
Can you see it?
I can see it.
Can you see it?
Ever since you did that painting where, with the portrait of the man, and you did it in all those different colors.
Yeah.
That, it made me see like the shadows and how you manipulate that stuff differently. So.
And these things all are still in, our abstracts. Now I'm going to do the eyes in this blush, but I'll probably come back with a warm yellow to warm them up, because that kind of is representing our light source here. And I want to make it feel like, this figure is in the sun. Just a decision that I made, a way of talking about the world that this person is in. This is a nice time, too, to, shape out the eyelids maybe in a way that I want them, if they were a little rough in the blocking in process. I'm going to grab a little yellow while I'm at it. I'm going to come along this chin here and just follow with my brush around. Get some white paint. Come in and just also follow. See, it's just sort of nice. Just these little things, maybe along the chin line. I'm going to rinse out my brush really well. And I may even change water for a little bit because I'm going to get into my ultramarine and its mixes. And I don't want yellow in that. So if you have, I don't know if I don't have a paper towel.
Yeah.
If you ever need to check if your brush is fully empty to pigment, you can drag it along a paper towel. The paper towel will wick out the pigment if it's still in there. That's great when you're washing them, and that's great if you're trying to switch colors radically where you know yellow is going to gray the color you're mixing into. Like we know yellow is going to gray our ultramarine. Now, let's be amazed, if we may, for a second, at the beauty of ultramarine and phthalo green. This is a gorgeous color. It is an aquatic color. Look at that gorgeous color.
That is cool.
Did you even know? No. Da, 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 da. Just a beautiful, beautiful color. And I'm going to paint this all in through here. I really like this mix for seascapes.
Oh, yes. I've seen you use it a lot in seascapes.
Yeah, and it's just nice for colder water, for deeper water. You know, when you're trying to talk about those things. I don't have to be too precious around the heart, but I'm just kind of holding that space. I got a little bigger with my objects, so I have less of this mint over here. Doesn't bug me, because I still have the balance of it over there, so we're still fine compositionally. Isn't this nice?
Yeah.
Just a beautiful color, and you can hopefully see bits of the ocean and waves frothing out in the deep sea. Knowing about paint and knowing about color and really understanding what you're doing, you know, it's a joy, not because then you can be like, oh, I know everything, but because when you're in your painting, you can be like, what would be nice here? And then you'll know.
And, man, it's nice to see all our community out here. A lot of them. It's been a slow morning for lots of us finding our coffees today, it seems.
We were expanding some art projects right before this art project, like the crazy people John and I actually are.
We're like,
because we always like to be like, oh, it was hard already, but what could we do to make it more insane?
We're going to take the most easy idea that we have and make it the most complex.
That is our signature move.
That will make.
I'm brushing some white through here for some interest in stuff. I'm going to rinse this out. Now I'm going to take just some of my white, and I'm going to mix a little of it into my ultramarine. If you need some glazing liquid to improve the flow, I think sometimes ultramarine as a color can be a little chalky. So sometimes it needs a little help flowing out.
I'm going to say hi to Chrissy's grandma who's watching us for the first time today with her.
Hi, Chrissy's grandma. We love Chrissy.
She's been with us for a long time, so we love saying hi to our community, and it's really nice when family comes and visits too. So, hi. Nice to see you. Or, you know.
Know you're here.
Know you're here.
Know you're here. Just pulling these colors down is just a lot of fun. And you'll find that I'm balancing these colors kind of around places. So if you see color here, you'll see it in some other places around. If you see a color here, it'll be over here. Little things that you can do if you're changing up the color, but trying to keep it looking nice and balanced.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm doing real well there. I'm going to get a lot of white, because the neck is very light. Get a lot of white. I'm going to come right here. I haven't rinsed my brush, and there's a lot of pigment on here. So I'm going to just enjoy that. All right. If I need a little more pigment, I can come into this light bit, get some more white, and be like, hey, light color, let me add a little tint to you. Getting this blocked in is pretty easy, pretty chill. I've got a little more blue on the brush right now, so I'm putting it where the hand is, because what I can do is I can paint a darker color around the hand, and that could imply that this warm imaginary light I'm talking about abstractly is there. So things that work in our objective painting can be helpful in our abstracted painting. And I have seen some very good, realistic, objective artists also be great abstract artists. The idea that you're one or the other is silly. Just when I hear people say objective artists can't be abstract, I just want to giggle.
You can't be
just want to giggle a lot.
Abstracted.
No.
You can't be objective and abstract?
You've had your paint card taken away, I guess.
Objectively abstract.
You just, the art police have come and said no. I don't know.
I feel like Dali would just have a day with that.
There's a lot of artists that would.
Be like,
there's a lot of modern artists that would. They were like, wait, what? What am I doing all week then? I'm going to get some more white because I'm going to be a little lighter at the shoulder. Now I'm going to come back with this more purple color in a minute, but I just want some of this here as sort of an underspace before I come back with my lovely, lovely purple. My lovely, lovely purple that quinacridone and ultramarine make that is like no other. Love it so much. Getting more ultramarine on my brush. The other nice thing about ultramarine is a very reasonable paint. And who doesn't like economy?
Now,
just going to paint this heart here.
What was the inspiration behind this image?
This particular image? So on this one, basically where I was like, I wanted to take you guys into someplace abstract. And I didn't want to hit you with something like really kind of intense like Picasso yet. And so where we'll be like, this face is in these 3 places right now. But I wanted you guys to have something that reflected, I don't know, all the messages and stories. I'm part of that Comment Kindness Collab right now, and I was like, there's been a lot of love in my Facebook feed. A lot of love, a lot of joy and a lot of love. And I was thinking, what could we do to kind of talk about all the stuff I'm seeing? And so she sort of came out of all that process.
Cool.
I don't know that makes me sound sane, though.
It does. No.
So I'm just going to keep shaping out the heart. The heart doesn't need to be like this perfect, like, manufactured heart.
Natalie was also asking, she was like, she can't find that brush. Can you tell us what you need to find in one if you can't find that one? What is she looking for?
You're looking for, get all the sizing out of brushes because all brushes have sizing. Know right now that hog's bristles will feel stiff, but they soften the minute you get them wet. So if you're going to get a hog's brush and you're an acrylic artist, you want a mix, a synthetic mix.
Okay.
You need a brush that feels slightly too stiff to put your makeup on with. You want it to feel like, ooh, that's really kind of at my skin.
Okay.
Not ready to take scuzz off a pan, but you wouldn't want to put your eye makeup on with it.
Okay.
For any reason, and it should be synthetic. I like synthetic for acrylics. A lot of people like hog's bristles. You just have to know that they're going to soften on you the minute that they're wet. And so you feel them in the store and they feel right, and then you get them home and you're like, wait, what happened? Not that they did anything wrong. They're a good brush. They did their job. You just didn't know. So that's just, and I like hog's bristles for lots of scumbling techniques. So there's not really a bad brush as much as not the brush you want for the job you're doing.
Right.
I'm gonna just trying to create the space where I like how it. In abstract, I'm even sort of thinking about my rough brush strokes here. So now I'm gonna take a little of my ultramarine over to my quinacridone. And they make a gorgeous, gorgeous purple. Look at that. It's
That's
just a
purpley.
Stunning lavender.
That's very nice.
Very nice.
Also very nice.
Adding a little water to my brush because it was just feeling a little dry. If you haven't, put your brush in water for a while, the paint can start to dry on it and create unwanted drag.
Now, I still have this little bag of lavender that was sent in by one of our community members right here on my...
What, are we going to color match it?
No, I just think it's funny. I looked down and I was like, oh, yeah, it smells like lavender because that.
Because that. because that. So I'm just painting this in, you know, enjoying using up my white, you know. Da 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 da. It's fun, fun, fun. These fields of color are fun. And I'm just, brush strokes are following the flow of the line, like they do, as they should.
Mona loves the colors. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think I agree.
I think that's, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think it's just important to never ever just be afraid of a color because you think it doesn't make nice colors. Paint manufacturers, even mummy brown, while kind of a gross concept in a paint, makes nice colors. That's why we use it. And if you didn't know, that's dead people. So, a lot of us artists were not happy to find that out when that came out. I'm sure there were some that were in the know. They were trying to tell their artist friends, you know, you're painting with dead people. Just saying.
It's the soylent green of the paint world.
Yep. There's always one that's got to come pop your balloon, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking too happy over there. So I'm just painting this in. I've gotten my colors lighter as I'm coming up towards the fingers. So that's the thing that I'm doing. You can even make them a little pinker if you want.
Angie is noticing how singy you are today and thinks it's very funny and cute.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on.
No, I think it's great. I was noticing the other day, Angie, on another live, I have a dangerous power here because sometimes I can, if I plant the word at the right time, she'll sing it. So I
no worries. I'm not trying out for idol. Nobody's lost their mind here.
But every once in a while you can say things like knees and elbows and she'll sing it back.
Yeah. I used to have a parrot that really liked me. She's like, she's one of my kind. There we go. Just brushing that back.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I'm just roughly putting the hand in. Something to know, too, in abstracted pieces, you don't have to be, like, necessarily regimented. It's okay to let the canvas show through sometimes in an abstract piece. Some really famous artists did it, so there's that. I'm going to get more of my quinacridone on here. I haven't even rinsed out my brush. Look at me go. Get some glaze. And come here underneath the hand. And just sort of blend that in. Blending it in. It's fun stuff. Alright. Blend, 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 blend. Blend, 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 blend. Sorry.
No, Nikki.
Now I'm self-conscious about it, guys.
But don't worry, because everyone is putting little sing-song tunes in there, and Nikki just said, "Hello, my people. I am home. I love this community."
Oh, thank you.
So with that, we've been just under 300 here, but I'm going to go ahead. I'll put some music on just because it's a good time to put some music on, I think.
Is it time to put some music on?
Because, at some point here, I've got
Hello,
some
darkness. Okay, let's put some music on. Let's do our jams.
Oh, we're just going. We'll just dance it. Okay, fine. I'll take it down so we can let Nikki know that. So how this generally works
For the
Nikki,
Sherpazoid.
For the Sherpazoids. Normally, what ends up happening is we wait until we get to 300, but we're just at 300, so that's okay today. What we end up doing is we like to celebrate that we're here together and that we're painting and having a good time. So we put on some music and we dance. And it's also a good time, remember, if you can't get up and dance, to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, because it's important to celebrate and dance even if you can't get up. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us today. We do really appreciate it. And, that's my little thing I like to say, I guess. I don't know.
I need a little more quinacridone magenta.
But it's true, we do. It's like, I think it's so easy for me to say that because that's probably the easiest part of what, is here is we do love being with you guys. And
I just took a little titch, just a smidge of my ultramarine over to deepen my magenta. And I'm just going to paint this whole side in with that.
Just going to paint it in?
Yep. That's what I'm doing. What I'm doing. I'm going to come down to the ear and sweep around the ear. I hope you guys like these live lessons.
Oh, they do. Everyone's. I mean, like, only reason why I'm so quick to say that is you don't get to see the chat, and I do, and it's just a steady stream of people, just very excited. There's a lot of new people here.
Oh,
so,
it's so exciting to have new people. We've had a lot of new people come to the channel.
Yeah.
Like a crazy number of new people have come to the channel. And I'm so excited. Hopefully you guys are like, wait, there's 400 paintings to do already here. And so you're having a blast. I've been sharing some older stuff with you guys that you might not know it was there. And then, also being excited about all the new that's coming. Because, I'm nothing if not prolific. I got the creative in me. So I'm just going to come here and fill in this space.
You got a couple paintings to do. I've seen a couple.
Just today, I'm like, wait, I got to change this. And John's like,
wait,
why
no.
don't you make it 1 hoot, 2 hoot, and 3 hoot?
She's like, no. Let's not just do 1. Let's do 3. Because 3 is just as much work as 1.
What? That's not true. All right, I'm going to rinse out my brush, and I'm going to get somebody a little bit smaller and more refined. I'm going to get this, oh my gosh, it's a number 4. You'll have to trust me on that because smudgies. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to get a little of my white and a little of my yellow. Just a little white and a little yellow. I'm going to start working what's going on in my eyes. And I'm going to dry brush this. Notice I didn't even put this in the water. So I'm just going to pull this back kind of rough. Rough. I want it to have a little texture. Also, I want a little of the paint underneath to sort of show through a bit. Right? And then maybe I'm going to offload the white, which is where I press the brush down and squeeze out. If you can't do that, just wipe it off on a towel. I'm going to just take some just yellow and dry brush that on this lid. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it is. And a little bit here too. Just showing that this is what we've got going on. And I think I'm going to get a little of my quinacridone in yellow and making kind of a bright orange. Get my glazing. And I'm going to come over the top where this brow is and sort of make a brow highlight. Like you might do. And I'm just going to grab my quinacridone, putting out more glazing medium. Because studio will be so dry. And just sort of paint around this space. Shading this in a bit. Just a little bit around this eye. Right? Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know why you would be like, no!
No, don't shade that eye.
No shading.
It must be a flat eye.
You know the rules.
No, yes.
I'm going to get a little of my purple here. Just hit my hairdryer with it so I get a little more of my purple here.
If you use your hairdryer, let me know.
No, I just hit the hairdryer. Hit all the paint onto the hairdryer.
Oh, no.
Let's get a little white so we can see the color.
You offloaded onto your hairdryer.
I'm just going to come around here and just loosely up this jawline. Like you might. Maybe get a little more blue on the brush and just come here and let's just stroke this down the jawline. That's sort of fun.
One of the things I noticed.
Yeah?
Filming.
I'm going to get a little glaze while I'm at it, guys.
Yeah, this was an interesting thing that I
I'm going to put a little shadow right here. Right under the nose. Look at that. Just like I would. Just like I would if it were a shadow.
Yeah, so
Coming around the nose.
I noticed in the last filming that you moved around a lot on the canvas.
Yeah, that's a normal kind of abstract thing that you'll find yourself doing is because you'll see different bits. You see an abstract canvas different than you see an objective canvas.
Yeah, and
it just is different in your head. I'm going to add some more magenta. Come here and just define this brow line more strongly.
These strokes also seem to be much bigger. And like they're you don't use your hand rest as much on the board or on the canvas.
No, I just don't. So no, Mr. Cooney.
No, it's one of those things. Is like
Make them a purple, and we'll come under here and make sort of this shadow.
a lot
Isn't that
of
nice?
yeah.
I think I'm going to add one over here too, though.
It's interesting how a lot of times it's the videos you're working on a very specific area, and I have to get close to it. But here you do so much expressive work with the brush that it's
Yeah, it's just a different space, isn't it? I'm going to get some just blue on here. I'm going to make a little nail kind of line, and I'm going
to zoom down on that so they can
very rough put in this dark volume and come up the hand and then here. So I'm going to rinse out a little bit like you do. Did you know you do?
Mm-hmm.
You might not know you do. And I'm going to, my white's getting a little bit precarious, so I'm going to put some safe white out. I've got a lot of colors really encroaching, and I might get a color when I don't want it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to get a color when I don't want it. So what I'm going to do is move my white into a safe zone. Safe zone.
Safe zone.
Right, and come right here. And I'm going to do the blush, actually, I'm going to come and just very lightly dry brush this cheek. And that's the blush. Isn't that weird?
Oh, yeah.
But because this face is so rosy, and I'm going to add some of this, maybe like a strong stroke right there, talking about that. And then I can even come inside the chin. Let's get it even lighter and be like, no man, your chin. This is what this is. I'm going to come right even on the nose with this white. Just make sure that I'm talking about these things in the way that I want to be talking about them. This is fun right here. I can take my quinacridone in my yellow. And you'll see I have like a bead and a bead of white. See how they're just like layered beads? I'm going to come here and I'm going to go wavy, 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 wavy. Pull another bead of white.
It was really important to let it be all mixy on the brush.
Yeah, this is probably the most expressionist bit of it that I'm doing. And even then it's not, like I'm not way back the brush working it.
There.
I'm also going to want to, sort of thinking about this, like I want to come here on this heart and loosely put some of this in. So see, you've got that. Just loose, just open, little pink, little yellow. And I'm going to come up this hand and talk a little bit about that. Maybe put a little bit there. Little kind of something there. The back of the neck here, I can add a little of that. That could come down. I'm going to come back over with some green, but I know I want this expressed a couple of places before I get into my green to, believe it or not, finish this sucker off. Rinse, 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 rinse. So she's not complex per se, right? That's, you know what? I don't like that right there. So what I'm going to do to fix that?
What's it you don't like?
It's just, it doesn't have a look that I like. So I've just created a glaze and I'm just going to soften that.
Oh.
So see how the glaze allowed me to soften it just a titch, just bugged me. So
Okay,
trust me,
cool.
like later when I see these things on the channel, I get like real freaked out. I'm like, hey! I'm like that gif of the groundhog. Hey! 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 That groundhog, have you seen it? I swear, that sums me up right there. Okay.
And this is the Art Sherpa.
Yeah, all day, every day. I'm taking a little of my phthalo blue. No, that isn't. That's ultramarine. Over to my green, and I'm gonna add some white to it. Isn't that wonderful?
It is wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful. Or you can have more green. Look at that right there. So you got some options here. So I've got this color. I'm gonna go more green. Let me go more green. I'm gonna come right under the eye. And I'm going to come right under the eye. I think I'm going to add another one on the nose. I love doing this lip. Okay. And then ear, swirl. Come down here. Come along the hand. Maybe there's toot, toot, toot. Get that energy worked out. Yep. Yep. Wave, 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 wave.
You just flipped your brush over there and just that's how you got that.
Yeah, I'm a problem. I'm gonna rinse out really well.
So I'm just trying to catch all the little things sometimes that.
So
like,
I'm gonna try to grab some white. Doesn't have to be perfectly white. I just want to make sure that I come here and talk about that a little bit. Make sure I want to give my lip a little reflection here that has a little green on it. I'm okay with it. And I think, yeah, I've caught everything I have to catch. Guess what I get to do?
Oh.
Sign it.
Ooh. Wow, that
Sign
came
it.
together just so fast.
Art is fun and art is easy when we work together like a team. All right, I'm gonna sign with my, I get asked a lot, are you allowed to sign with the paint pen? Art police are not coming to your house to take your painting away. So, yes, the only time you think about things like paint pens is if you're starting to establish a career. How easy is it to verify that this is your signature versus the signature of somebody else who weirdly forged your stuff? If you feel in danger of forgery, like if you're sitting here and you're watching me for some unknown reason, you're like, I'm a wildly famous artist who might be forged for the purposes of profit. Probably don't use a paint pen, dude.
Right.
Rest of us, yeah, of course. If you think your descendants will be upset your stuff is forged. I'm just wondering who's sitting at home going, I'm going to be so famous, they're going to all be copying it. I really need to make sure this is as identifiable as possible.
We will leave that for the art police and the next generation.
Yeah, let's just leave it for the art cops because not really important in life. I hope you loved today. I hope it was fun.
Yeah, a lot of people had a lot of fun today. It was really a lot of people liked the abstracts, lots of questions about it. So this is really good. You answered a lot of stuff. Thank you.
Gotta do this on occasion, right?
Yeah.
Gotta loosen up, lighten up, have fun, mix with colors we're not familiar with, be a little goofy. We'll see how tomorrow shakes out. Depending on my energy levels, will be an interesting day for you. It might be little interesting, might be really interesting, might be, what? What's going on? I have other things to do besides paint, Sherpa. Okay? Okay, they're all over the house. They're stacked 10 deep. You gotta stop.
More. Paint more. Paint more. Everyone says paint more. So, traceables are available on our website, TheArtSherpa.com.
Yes, of course.
You can find all of our stuff there.
All the stuff, all the things,
We wanna see your
information,
paintings.
Links to stuff.
We want to see everybody's paintings.
There's a record of the 400 paintings because, I love you guys. Did you have an owl? So many.
Mm-hmm.
How many owl you need? Mm-hmm. It's very rare. Unless you recently asked, do you have a car? I got one car. Kind of old.
It's truck.
It's truck. Sound wasn't that great. So you guys can skip that one. We probably need to refilm. But there's a lot of stuff, so check it out.
Yeah.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you with Easel really soon. And, of course, the channel really soon as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.